Universal Audio have a solid reputation for making some of the best recording hardware and software on the market today. And for over a decade, their Apollo series of interfaces have been an elegant solution for recording and monitoring through plug-in emulations of classic analog gear in real time with extremely low latency. So, it only makes sense that they've created an Apollo with Dante I/O that can not only be used in audio network studio environments, but brings the power of UAD plugins to live sound environments too. The x16D has 16 channels of Dante I/O and 6 DSP cores for running UAD plugins in real time. There are a few applications for this potent combination of technologies, and I'll talk through a few of these in a moment. But first, let's check out the x16D in a simulated live sound environment using a virtual soundcheck. My setup today is an Allen & Heath SQ5 with the Dante card option installed, which is what I'm using to connect to the x16D. For the virtual soundcheck, I'm playing that back from Logic Pro on a MacBook via the SQ5's USB inputs. Now, the Dante connection is going to allow me to incorporate UAD plugins in the console's signal path. So I can set up this processing in a couple of ways. The first is that I'm using it as an effects bus, essentially a send and return. And I have two of those set up. I've got a Lexicon 480 reverb. Try bringing one of those to your local bar gig or taking one out on tour, and you'll hear that primarily on the snare drum. And then I also have another effects bus set up with a precision delay plugin, which you'll hear on the lead guitar. The second and perhaps more exciting way that I have this processing set up is via insert points. And with more and more digital consoles having these insert points, the x16D makes it easy to integrate UAD plugins directly into your console's channel strips. And I have a bunch of these set up. I have a preamp and compressor on the bass, as well as some EQ and compression on the organ. So let's check out those. And just to reiterate, since we're doing a virtual sound check, this processing is happening in real time. So what that means is that if you wanted to use Autotune live, like, not that I really need to, just set it up on an insert. And I will use Autotune. The fact that all of this processing is taking place in real time means that you can also take advantage of Universal Audio's mic modeling technology in a live sound scenario. Now, we're doing a virtual sound check where I'm using pre-recorded tracks, but these tracks were recorded using UA's recently released SD3, SD5, and SD7 standard series microphones, except for the drum overhead, which was a single Universal Audio sphere. But if you were using these microphones in a live situation, you could use the Hemisphere plugin to access different mic models from the virtual mic locker. So let's check that out on the kick drum. And of course, since the processing is being hosted in the UA console app, I can set up whole processing chains for different sources and then save them as a plugin scene, which can be recalled over MIDI during performance. With more and more artists incorporating stems and backing tracks, the x16D is an ideal way to integrate a playback rig with the Dante-equipped front-of-house system using only Ethernet and eliminating the need for analog snakes and any DI boxes. And for larger live setups, up to 4 x16Ds can be linked together to build a 64-channel Dante system. And this is perfect for audio network studios where the x16D could be used as the primary recording interface when used in conjunction with a multi-channel Dante preamp for a front end. The x16D also has an integrated monitor controller that can accommodate formats up to 9.1.6, so you can easily create 16-channel immersive mixes for formats like Dolby Atmos, Auro 3D, and Sony 360 Reality Audio. Just like all of the other rack-mount Apollo interfaces, the x16D is Thunderbolt equipped, so it can easily integrate into an existing analog I/O Apollo-based system if you're looking to bring Dante capabilities. But bear in mind that Universal Audio's flex routing doesn't allow sending inputs from one Apollo to outputs of another Apollo for monitoring. Inputs can only be flex routed to the corresponding outputs on the same unit. However, you can use the UAD console Q and aux sends to route signals from multi-unit Apollos to the master monitor unit, which can be an x16D, and the 4 stereo Qs can be mirrored to Dante outputs. There's also stereo AES I/O and a stereo analog monitor output. It probably goes without saying that the Apollo x16D is going to be a hit with big PA and backline companies. Being able to access a host for Universal Audio's powerful plugins via Dante is sure to be popular with front-of-house engineers. But with the barrier of entry to a Dante-equipped digital console getting lower and lower, this isn't technology that's only reserved for big companies. Smaller rental houses, houses of worship, independent touring bands, and even local acts can easily take advantage of the x16D to add significant processing power to their live rig. But what are your thoughts? Will we see an Apollo x16D in your rack? Let us know in the comments below. Until next time, this has been Andrew from B&H reminding you to always remember audio.